That's the name of the game. And movie or no movie, today we're going to talk to you about the secret sauce, how to train your dog, the exact system we use. Stay tuned to the end, because at the end, for those of you who participate, we're going to be giving away free courses to our online courses at DIYcanine.com. And for those who really participate and do a real good job, we're going to go ahead and give away 1 or 2 premium memberships. The value is a $1,200 value. So today we're going to discuss the secret sauce. The way we're going to do that is by kind of telling you how we build a dog from the ground up, how we train a dog from the ground up, the exact system that you can use to train your dog at home. We're going to have other dog trainers probably jumping in and trying to steal the secret sauce. Truth is, it's nothing really new, but it's how we apply particular dog training ingredients to come up with just this perfect picture. We break it down so it's so easy to understand, and literally anybody at home can do it, because it's exactly what we teach at DIY Canine. And just so you are aware, the whole reason we're doing this is because today is the final day of the Black Friday sale. And so for this is for those of you folks who want to get information on how to train your dog, what's going to be the best system for training your dog. And if it ends up that the system that we're using is the best system for you, then you're going to want to jump on it today, because the sale ends today. So you're going to want to watch to the end. We'll go ahead and throw up the coupon code when you all ask for it. This will be interactive. We might ask some questions. You participate. You get your little participation trophy. Not like the ones your kids get at T-ball for sucking. You actually have to answer the question correctly. And then we will hook you up with, pays to be a winner. That's the name of the game. So there's a few ways that we can tackle this. But simply put, I'm going to put an equation on the board that's going to help explain to you and just make you understand in the simplest terms how we train dogs to be the best that they can be. And also how you could be training them in a bad way, because your dog's learning all day, every day. It's just what you're teaching them is what makes a difference. And it comes down to a simple equation. I'll draw it up here. Then I'm going to take a sip of my go-go juice so we can stay motivated. That's the equation, folks. Everything you need to know about dog training is literally in this equation right here. This is not something you're going to learn anywhere else, because the way we explain it, we dumb it down so it's so simple. Now, it looks like a math problem. It's not really, because for those of you who suck at math, you'll still get this. What this is, and this is going to be the first question of the day. We'll get this party started right. Only for the folks who have not taken my courses. What does this equation represent in dog training? Something equals something. There's another name for it called pairing. What's the scientific name for it? Throw it out. It's okay if you're wrong. Just want to get that participation going. Let me know, Cole. Cole's over there behind the scenes.
I'm looking. I'm waiting for someone to throw in the right answer.
What goes here?
Someone said cause and effect.
Hey, that's very close.
Very close. Positive and negative, not quite.
We'll get to the positive and negative later. It's not that. Cause and effect is definitely on the right path. And we can even go with that, but it actually is.
Think back to our psychology classes.
Yeah, psychology, if you remember. Something, CC. But cause and effect is pretty close. Anybody else want to jump in? If not, we're going to go with it.
Ooh, someone got it, but I think she's in your courses already.
Who could that be?
Chelsea.
Chelsea, stop cheating. No, it's good, Chelsea. But yes, it's classical conditioning. Classical conditioning. See, Chelsea's already crushed our courses, so she knows this stuff like the back of her hand and uses it to train her dog. In fact, all of you, whether you know it or not, are using classical conditioning to train your dog, good or bad. See, because this can be a great equation or it can be a horrible equation, but I'm going to break it down for you. This is so simple. Here's the equation. Ready? Whatever you want to teach your dog, which is the thing new, right? The new thing that you want them to learn. They learning it by being paired with, like you said, cause and effect, something that they already know. That's it. New before known. I'm going to give you a couple of examples and this will stick. If you're in your kitchen and you ruffle the treat bag, your dog does what? It comes running, it sits, it's excited. So we'll just go with excited. But now I'm going to give you a bad example of that. When you open the door, what does your dog do? And that is the question. When you open your front door, what does your dog do? Looking for an answer here. What does your actual dog do when you open the front door? Say nothing, do nothing, just the front door opens.
Bolt out, someone said.
Exactly. Bolt out. But what should it do instead? Meaning that's exactly the equation that's happening. And that's dog training in a nutshell. The simple act of opening your door, what does your dog do? In the equation for that individual, make sure, call out who the name was so we can kind of communicate with them. In this simple equation here of opening the door equals bolt out, who was it?
Buddha bed.
All right, Buddha. When you open the door and the dog bolts out, all we need to do as dog trainers is instead of bolting out, what if we replaced open door equals stay? Because like clockwork, when you open the door, the dog shoots out. What if we made it like clockwork? When you open the door, the dog stays? That's it. That's dog training, whether it's good or bad. Because once again, whether you're training your dog on purpose to do good things, or you're just letting it happen on its own, your dog is learning, as someone put well earlier, cause and effect. Now, if you open the door and they stay and you stack positive reinforcement on that, R plus, which is what? It's just a treat, right? A good boy, a pat on the head, or you let them go outside, then you've basically completed the equation. Dog knows if the door opens and they stay, something good happens. But let me show you again the equation when the dog bolts out. Bolt, guess what happens now? What you put there makes all the difference in the world. You open the door, the dog bolts out, what happens? If it chases something and enjoys the freedom of running around and you chasing it and hollering at it and it thinks it's the funniest game ever, you just created an amazing experience, a positive reinforcement experience, meaning it's very likely every time you open the door, the dog's going to continue to bolt out because something amazing is happening. It gets to run around, it gets to chase things, you chase it, it has freedom, it doesn't come back for 30 minutes. But what if instead you put a punishment there?
So there's a couple people in the chat. Chelsea put correction. Troy put no reward correction. So they're right on it.
Everybody's on it. So thank you for the participation. But yeah, the idea here and on this particular equation is that if the door opens and your dog bolts, we punish the bolting. And you know what happens when you punish the bolting? It stops happening. That's it. This is dog training in a nutshell. I don't care if you're teaching a police dog how to find a bad guy, how to bite harder, bite deeper, how to search for dope, how to get your dog to recall the first time, every time, how to walk on leash, off leash, to pull or not to pull, all has to do with this equation. If someone wants me to just use a random one, tell me something that your dog does that you can't stand. And I'm going to put it into the simplest of equations. So just tell me what it is. Some behavior your dog does with pulling on the leash, jumping on counters, peeing on the floor, and it's going to be an equation. And even you can go something super extreme, like, hey, how do you get a police dog to do something, whatever, the craziest thing you can think of, and it'll be an equation.
We're getting flooded. We've got whining in the car was the first one, jumping on visitors, barking when visitors come, barks, biting.
Okay, we'll just do jumping. That's pretty simple, right? Equation. It's an equation. Guest comes over equals what? Well, in the case of jumping, the dog jumps, and even if the dog is pushed away, it's pet, the person falls over, all of these different examples, but usually when the dog is a puppy, there's a person, it jumps, and after it jumps, it gets some kind of reward. For here, I'll just get pet. Equation complete. Locked in your dog's memory forever and ever. And that's how jumping starts, is because when your dog was a puppy, there was a person, it jumped, it got pet, and it just learned. This is an equation that I'd like to repeat again. All day, every day. So the only way to fix this equation is to literally go in and fix it. Where do you fix it? Right here. When there's a guest and you go to jump, we knock out the jump. We definitely don't pet them. Instead, we insert a new equation through training, which we show you how to do, and you insert a new equation. When you see a guest, sit. And when you sit, awesome things happen. Amazing things happen. When you jump, life sucks. And now, when your dog sees a guest, it literally makes a conscious decision. And this is where people get hung up. But every time your dog is encountered with a scenario, that cause and effect, your dog makes a decision whether it's going to go down the left path, we don't want that, or the right path, meaning making the right decisions. When you see a guest, do me a favor and sit, you'll get pet. If you try to jump, it's a dead end road all day, every day. Again, this is just one example. We could be here all day. Every single thing your dog does can fit into some equation or not. When it's beyond 2, we just call it a stack. But it's just a series of things that happen, as someone again stated, simple cause and effect. Your dog determines its own destiny. We just help it. We help it. All right, cool. So that is the secret sauce, folks. But it's like, that's it? Well, I'm going to expand upon this concept. But everything you just saw here is what's called classical conditioning, pairing. What you do leads to different outcomes. It's just our job as owners and trainers to help shape those outcomes, to help present a good equation, and then help trim away on the bad equations. So let's now talk about something completely different. We're going to completely switch the picture. But hopefully you all are liking that. If you do, give me some hearts, give me some likes. If you got any questions, ask them. I'll leave that up for now. So we're going to stick with the secret sauce. And if we know that this is how dogs learn, by putting something new before something they know, then I'm going to show you really our proprietary system here that we use. And it's what we call totem pole theory. And then we're going to go in even deeper, if we have time, and share with you what we call FHVLE. This is, again, another little proprietary system that we have that complements the totem pole theory. How many people do we have?
130 right now.
Perfect. All you 130 people, put your seatbelts on. Again, this, by the way, if I didn't say it earlier, this is our second shot at it. Earlier, we were trying to do it, but the Wi-Fi connection was horrible. What you're going to see today, if you're watching this right now, this is going to go away in about 24 hours. We cannot leave this up for the whole internet to steal everything we do. We really can't. And that's how serious I am about the stuff we do here. All right. We'll put this new before known right up here because I need some room to work, baby. All right. Totem pole theory. Can I get from the audience, please? What's a behavior that you want your dog to do? Something fairly basic. A sit, a down, place board, recall, stay. Pick one. Let me see what comes up.
Someone said recall place.
Okay. We can even do a recall 2 place.
We're getting a lot of recalls. Let's do recall.
Okay, let's see. Recall. I'll do a recall 2 place, which, by the way, could just be a recall to heel. And it really doesn't matter what you put up here because the totem pole is built the same. You say, what the hell is a totem pole, Garrett? Well, the totem pole is what we call what you build for every command that you want. In this case, we're going to build a totem pole, and the name of this totem pole is called the recall/place totem pole, or recall come into place. And at the tip top of the totem pole is what we're trying to achieve with every dog. Can anybody describe to me in 1 or 2 words? It's 2 words for us. What the top of the totem pole is, the tippity top. What is the most important thing that we are trying to achieve when it comes to the recall? And this has to do with how the command is delivered and how that command is received. It's a 2-word thing I'm looking for here.
Oops, someone got it. Well, a couple people got it. Christy S. and Troy both got it first.
Yeah, well, those are folks who've taken our courses, and I appreciate it. I really want the folks who haven't taken our course to jump in and try to figure it out, but that's okay. We're going to throw it up here. It's called an empowered voice. Now, what you can imagine what an empowered voice is that when you recall your dog, what would that look like? Thanos, here, or Fido, come. Empowered voice. But you're like, what the hell does that mean? That means that when you recall your dog, it actually works because your voice is empowered. This is the epitome. This is the top echelon. This is everything we want our dogs to do, whether it's a recall, a sit, a down, a place. That's when we say it the first time, they do it every time. And even when the triple D's, not like your grandma's bra size, when the triple D's are present, which is, well, I'm not going to say. You all tell me. Again, only if you haven't taken our courses. What are 3 different words that start with a D that might make your dog's place or their recall suck? Throw them out. It's 3 different words that start with a D. Want to make sure we're all paying attention. Cole, what do we got there?
We got distraction.
That's the number 1, baby. You already know.
Okay, we got I believe this is the Californian said distance,
Boom.
distraction, duration.
He said them all?
Yes. Well, we got a couple of people who said them all.
That's it. Distance, distraction.
Buddha Bet also
duration.
got all of them.
Yeah, the only way you got all those, man, is you took my course or you're a dog training genius. But that's it. Distance, distraction, duration. What do we mean? We'll put it in the case of recall. Your dog is 5 feet away or it's 50 feet away. That would be distance. Check. There's not really a recall for duration per se, but in the case of the place board, the dog is either in heel position or on a place board. How long will they hold it? How long will they hold that sitting down? That's the duration. But on the recall, the biggest one, and honestly, distraction's the biggest on anything. Will your dog recall, place, sit down, whatever you want, stay when distractions are present? And we rate all of these on a scale of D1 through D10, D10 being the highest. So let me know in the comments below, what is your dog's D10 distraction, especially when it comes to recall? That means your dog's off leash or in your backyard or maybe even in your house, wherever it is you might be. What's the D10 distraction for your dog? For Thanos, it's cats and deer, as we just discovered the other day.
People are saying other pets, other dogs.
Yep, other dogs, other pets, etc. So what I'm trying to explain to you when we build this totem pole is that an empowered voice gets your dog to recall. I don't care if you got a triple D, D10 situation, the dog recalls the first time, every time on your voice and your voice alone. This is what we're trying to achieve. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a heart if you want to learn how to do this right now, because that's what we're going to break down for you. Whether it's a recall, place, sit down, you plug in whatever you like. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to build that totem pole. We getting some love, some hearts?
Yeah, lots
If
of
not,
hearts.
I'm just going to quit this thing. I can go enjoy time with my family. You know what I'm saying? All right, so here we go. The trick is, how do you get that? Because I'm going to tell you right now, dogs don't just come right out of the box with an empowered voice. Dogs don't speak English. They don't speak German. They don't speak at all. They don't understand when you tell them no, good dog, bad dog, recall, none of that. We have to teach them what a voice is first before we can even get in an empowered voice. So I'm going to break it down for you. What do you think, and we're going to figure this out together, because I know there's some smart people out there. What do you think if you had an 8, 10, 12-week-old puppy, could even be older, what does get your dog to come back? And I want to hear what the comments are. Cole, read them out to me. What gets your dog to come back pretty reliably? We'll say in a situation.
Someone said toy.
Okay, a toy. We could do
Food.
that. I just want to hear what else we got out there. What gets your dog to come back?
A happy voice, treats, reward.
Yeah.
Food. Yeah, a lot of it. Food.
A lot of food. That's exactly right. So we're going to go ahead and put that right here. Food. And that's how we're going to start our totem pole. You'll see we left this open here. We'll explain that later. But this is the foundation of your totem pole. And this is how, in this particular totem pole, by the way, before we even get too deep, you can build multiple different totem poles for different commands, and you can build them in any order that you want. However, an empowered voice is typically what we want at the top, but it's how you get there can change. So in this totem pole, I'm going to give you a pretty typical way. And then if we have time, I'll show you how you build a totem pole a completely different way. So with food, what we do is we have a dog that's hungry. It's a very simple process. The dog knows you have food. The dog is hungry. You have high value treats. You could do it with a toy, but we're going to start with food just to get the reps in. And we teach the dog that when you come to me, you get food, right? When you come to me, you get food. I wouldn't even name it. I would just let the dog know when you chase me, when you follow me, like a game of cat and mouse, I'm the money man. I'm like a freaking slot machine. All you got to do is push my button, pull my lever, and I spit food. I am so much fun. When I spit food, I actually throw it away. When I throw the food 5 or 10 feet away, it causes the dog to naturally, through free shaping, actually come back to you without you even calling the dog. So you could put free shaping here on the bottom, by the way, but we're just going to start with food. Now, once that's reliable, and we'll do the example of the place, we'll build 2 totem poles at the same time. How can you get a dog to go onto a place board? What do you think is the easiest way to get a dog to go on the place board on their own? No forcing them, no yelling at them, no saying anything, no picking them up and placing them on it. What do you think is the easiest way?
People are saying leash,
Mm-hmm.
leash pressure, food, food lure.
All of these answers are correct. Leash, leash pressure, food, food lure. In the case of this totem pole, once again, we're going to start with food. So you can call it a food lure. All right. In the case of the recall, you are the base. You are the lure. It's just not your hand. In this case, it's your hand is the food lure. But let's move on because it's probably getting boring. What do you think the next step on the totem pole is? What I'm getting at is if you got a hungry dog and you have food on you, can we get our dog to either come to us or go on the place board? And again, this is assuming literally a D0 distraction. There's no distractions. Your dog's hungry, the perfect scenario. The idea is, can we get the pup to come to us or go onto the place board with food? The answer is yes, should be 90 to 100%. After we develop a food lure, the next thing we're looking to develop.
So Dollhouse Diggs kind of hinted at this. He said point.
Point, yeah. That's for the next one. So you're close. You're not even wrong, but we would call it a hand command. Why do we go to a hand command? And by the way, this is exactly where everyone goes wrong when they first start training their dog. If they even have a beginning clue of what they're doing, they go straight from food lure, and they combine the food lure with a verbal. And they might say place or here, place or here. That can go wrong very quickly, but we'll talk about that some other time. Instead of going straight from food to voice, we're going to go in with a hand command. Does anybody know why we prefer a hand command over a voice command when it comes to training a dog? Why do we choose a visual hand command over an audible voice command when it comes to training dogs? Anybody have an idea? This will be a free course if someone gets it. Free course coming to you. We're looking for the answer. Read them out, Cole.
Someone said because dogs don't understand our words.
It's true.
Dogs are more visual learners, which
that's the answer.
That's the answer. I think.
Who's that?
The shepherd working dog.
All right, the shepherd working dog.
Let me make sure no one else said anything before.
Yeah, that's the answer. Dogs are unbelievably visual learners. They're much more visual learners than audible learners. Pay attention the next time 2 dogs meet, how much talking they do to each other by barking. It almost never happens. It's 100% visual. So you always need to be paying attention to what you're showing your dog visually. And so we're going to go ahead and play to the dog's strengths and develop a visual command, whether it's a recall or a place. When you see me running backwards or you see me pointing to the place board, I need you to recall or I need you to place. The visual hand command is going to speed up your dog's learning like nobody's business. So you spend a little bit more time here and the rest of this speeds up. You'll see how that plays out in a minute as we finish building this totem pole. But moving on, The hand command is the way to go, and it literally is, it could be whatever you want, but typically the hand command is representative of your food lore. Allow me to demonstrate. If there was a place board there and I had food in it, in my hand, I would lure the dog over to the place board, lure the dog over to the place board. And then all of a sudden that becomes a hand command. It could be a whole body command, but that's your hand command. Now, once the hand command is 90, but preferably closer to 100%, what do you think the next command is? What is the next step in our totem pole? Read them out, even if they're wrong. Just want to hear them.
Verbal, voice. Someone said pair hand command with voice.
Okay, so all of those are correct. And again, if you chose something else, you could absolutely be correct. This is just the typical building of the totem pole. Doesn't have to be this way. You can swap it out. You can throw the hand command up here. You can throw the voice down here. You can skip the voice altogether and only wait till you have an empowered voice. Now, when we pair the hand command to the voice, this is where everyone gets this wrong. Even professional dog trainers get this wrong, especially the ass clowns at PetSmart. We go back to our secret sauce. And the secret sauce says what? New before known. So please, someone fill in the blank. The voice command, I'll just leave it like that. We're going to use a V for this and an HC. What is the equation? Remember, we already talked about this earlier, that every dog learns everything through this equation. So we're going to tap into that equation, and we just need to insert the proper command. So see, I want to see an equation. I want to see blank equals blank.
V equals HC is what someone said.
Okay, someone put
SM.
What is it?
SM said V equals HC.
V equals HC.
Which we had several people say that as well.
Perfect. So hopefully everyone who doesn't understand this is going to get this now, because you're like, this hurts my head, man. Is this freaking algebra? No, it's not. Now here's the question, the big one. How do we teach the dog this? Do we say, and we'll just go with place. Do we say, and I'm just trying to figure out how to get this to you. Option 1, we're going to go point to the place board and then say place. So option 1, point and then say place. It's a trick question. Option 2, we're going to do it at the same time. Place, place. And then option 3, we're going to say place and then point. What do we got for answers there? What do we got? Option 1, 2, or 3?
Let's see. Looks like we're getting more option 3s. A couple options 1s and 2s, but
yeah, that's what I was interested in. If you all chose option 1, and if you chose option 2, y'all learned your training at PetSmart. Garbage. Dogs do not learn this way. In this case, option 1, point and then place, you switch the order here, and the dog's never going to learn. They're just not going to learn when you switch it. And you can't do it at the same time because dogs can't process that much information at the same time. Place, place. If you do it at the same time, they're just going to think you have Tourette's. So I don't know what's wrong with my mom or dad, but every time they point at the place board, they utter something out of their mouth. I don't really ever catch it because it's just weird. But I do know that when they point at the place, I'm going to go to that place board. So yes, we kind of went, someone already gave it away, but the equation is whatever you're trying to teach the dog, precedes what they already know. So I'm going to make this very visual. I'm a very visual learner, just like dogs. And what we're doing is we are pairing the voice with the hand command. But here's a bonus question. And we're going to pair it in this order. We're going to say place equals the hand command, which, by the way, equals something awesome happens when they go on it. All right? What I want to know now, though, is there anything else? Is there any other equation that we could use aside from this one right here to teach the dog that when we say place, it means to go on the place board? So if anyone could put that in there, and it's based off the totem pole. We have paired the voice with the hand command. How do we pair the voice with anything else? In fact, is there anything else we would maybe want to pair the voice with?
Someone saying voice equals leash pressure.
You are a step ahead of us.
Food lure, I guess. No one said leash pressure. I mixed the words.
Oh, is it, man, Cole giving it away. Someone said food?
Someone said food. Well, some people are stacking too. So
like what do they stack? I want to hear what the stack
plus, well, I guess that wouldn't work. It all depends on what the dog knows.
Yeah,
like we've got food
exactly
plus
right.
hand command equals voice, which would be true if they know the voice.
Okay, so let's put that one up there. Food equals hand command equals voice. Anybody see anything wrong with this equation? Because what we're trying to teach the dog is the new thing. What comes later is what they already know. So the problem with this is they probably don't know what the word place means. Hopefully they know what a hand command is, but even if they did, they're too busy eating food to pay attention. It's just, this doesn't work. However, the stack is correct. We do like a stack, and this is one of the hardest things to teach people is the order of operations. But the order of operations is everything. If you can't figure this out, then you're going to be lost in the sauce forever. That's why I give you the secret sauce. So the actual thing is the stack is we want the dog to know what our voice command is, but they don't know what it is. So we say place, and they go, huh? Place equals that hand command that was looking pretty reliable, right? About 99% reliable. And then if they get lost in the sauce, you know what you can add in at the end? Food.
There we go. Some people are getting it now. So it's voice, hand command, food.
That's a stack.
That's what people are all commenting now.
When I say place, and if you get confused, you should be confused because you've never heard that word before in your life. Or maybe you've only heard it 5 or 10 or a dozen times, but it hasn't clicked yet. How many times, think now, folks, think, how long would it take you to learn a new word from a different language? In fact, we're going to mess with it right now. Geblaut. Does anybody know what that means? And if you don't, I'll tell you. German command for speak. But I've only said it once, and you're a human. Can you spell it? Can you repeat it back to me perfectly? Can you use it in a sentence? Chances are probably not. But if we repeated it, geblaut equals speak. Geblaut equals bark. In the case of the dog, geblaut equals bark equals bite, which puts a big old check mark at the end. So anyways, that's how we teach. So this is what's called a stack, and all it is, the visual representation of that. When I say place, if you don't know what it is, I'm here to help you with the support structure that we've already built underneath it. And if you still need more help, I can bounce down here. So that's a visual representation of what the stack looks like. But I was hoping someone would show me this. It doesn't always have to be a stack. You know what it could be instead? And I'm going to ask you all this. Forget the percentage here. You all tell me the percentage. Hungry dog. Mild distraction, level D2 distraction in this particular scenario. We're working our dog in a mildly distracted environment. We're not even trying to, just the distraction appears on the horizon. I tell my dog to place with the verbal. It's still learning. It kind of has an idea what we're talking about. What's the better thing to pair my voice with in this particular scenario? What's the percentage chance that he'll do it on a hand command and a hand command alone versus what's the percentage chance that if I throw a piece of hot dog or steak on the place board that he'll go over there? What's the percentage chance for this versus this? I'll give you my answer. It's just a ballpark. It depends on a million different, what am I looking for? Anything could happen. All these different things could happen. But generally speaking, let's just call this a 50% reliability, whereas this is looking more like 90%. What do you think's more powerful? This is more powerful, at least in the beginning. And so I'm actually going to pair my voice with the food lure. Why not? I'm going to skip the hand command and I'm going to pair the voice with something I know my dog loves. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but that's how I would start. And then I can come back and do this. And then every rep I do, we're building like a support structure, and we have this totem pole that's really strong. But moving on, I think we beat this one up too much. What's the next part? Because this is where all your positive only trainers get lost in the sauce, baby. They ain't got the secret sauce. So we're going to fill in the secret sauce for you right now.
Oh, Lisa got it. Leash pressure.
Boom. Lisa, for the bonus points and a free course, what's the equation? I'm going to wait on Lisa there. It's probably going to take, there's a time delay. So type it out and we'll wait for you. But there's an equation here. And everyone else can try to chime in. But she wants to put leash pressure next. I don't disagree. Leash pressure. I'll just spell it out. So go ahead, Lisa. Tell us what the equation is going to be for leash pressure. And whether you call it an equation,
so she's saying
order
voice,
of operations.
Voice equals leash pressure.
Folks, type in the comments below. Is she correct? Yes. Or is she wrong? Type no. Is the equation to teach, is it this? Knew before known.
Christy's saying no. Chelsea's saying no. A lot of no's.
Right, and this is where again, it's so simple, but when you go to apply it, we get lost in the sauce. A little lost in the sauce, so I'm here to help you. The actual equation is whatever you're trying to teach the dog, in this case, leash pressure, we actually pair with something else. So we're going to stack leash pressure, but let's pause for a minute. I promise you, if you put a leash on a dog that doesn't understand the basics of leash pressure, and you hook it up to a leash, I don't care if it's a prong collar, slip lead, flat collar, harness, you just tie the thing around their neck, I don't care. When you pull forward or try to pull them onto the place board, what you're going to run into is opposition reflex. The dog doesn't understand forward leash pressure. It's not natural to them. You are speaking to them in a language that they do not understand. They don't get it. So we must teach them what leash pressure means. That's why we put it here. The language of leash pressure, which is like a brand new command they've never seen, felt, or heard before, comes here. But then what goes there is the question. I want to know what you think should come next, folks.
So a lot of people are already commenting and they're saying leash pressure equals food lure.
Oh, we got some winners. Leash pressure equals food lure. But what I want to know is, why doesn't leash pressure, why don't we go leash pressure equals voice? By the way, neither of these are wrong, but one's better than the other. Leash pressure equals, not equals, I keep saying equals, but technically paired with. Leash pressure comes just before a food lure. Leash pressure comes just before a voice command. Leash pressure comes just before a hand command. You know what's pretty sweet though? You got 3 options. Any of these will work. The only question I ask you is, which one would you pair to? Some people want to pair with voice. No problem. But you shouldn't be stacking this on top of anything that's not already pretty solid. Now, I can get into the nitty-gritty details, but by the time we've gotten up to this point, there's a fat chance that your dog has really done a good job here. Meaning, think of it as these little squares, and they've all been filled up. So your food lure is just looking stacked. We're talking 90, maybe even 99% reliability in the perfect storm. Hand command, because we've been working on it, we'll bump that bad boy to 75%. The voice command, we've only just started working on. We're getting it pretty good. Maybe it's 50% reliability. Of course, all of these numbers drop when the distractions and the durations get higher. But leash pressure, the saving grace is going to come in, and we now must pair, when you feel leash pressure, it means I got food for you. When you feel leash pressure and you're a little confused as to what you're supposed to do, I'm going to come in and help you with my voice, and I'm going to say place. And if you get stuck, if I put leash pressure on and you're stressed or confused because you don't know what the hell that means, it's no problem, because I'm going to help you complete the equation, and I'm going to help get you to the promised land, which is right over here. You'll see it in a minute. When you feel leash pressure, it means I need you to place. If you're at all confused, I'll come in with a hand command, and if you're still lost in the sauce, I'll come in with a food lure, and either way, it ends in a big fat check mark. We complete the equation, we get it right each and every time, set the dog up for success, and they are nothing but winning each and every time. Each and every time. So let me erase a little bit of this, kind of clean up my board. Give me some thumbs up, some hearts. Let me know if this is making any sense to you, if you've learned anything new. And again, hopefully this doesn't seem too complicated, but everything I'm showing you here is exactly how you train a dog. Point blank, period. You can draw it on a different chart. You could say it a different way. But every single thing you teach your dog, again, I don't care if it's recall, place, sit down, how to bite a bad guy, is some type of classically conditioned equation, some type of new before known. So when it comes to leash pressure, if you're doing it correctly, I'd pair it with food. Then I'd also come in and pair it with a hand command. I'd also pair it with the voice. But I've also paired my hand with the food, and I paired my voice with the food, but then I also paired my voice with the hand command, and you see how it goes on, and look at this beautiful support structure. Now here, riddle me this, Batman. When the distraction of a D4 or higher is present, by the way, someone maybe tell me what you think that distraction could be for your dog. It's not a D10. It's just a little something that gets them, we'll call it a little stupid, right? It's a simple game of get on the place board. But you have the food, and you're saying the voice command, and you're even pointing like air traffic controller, but your dog's...
Someone said car.
A freaking car comes by. Sure. Another dog passes. A bird. Something's
Ambulance.
on the TV.
That's
Ambulance, doorbell, fill in the blank. It's different for every dog, but there are a lot of similarities. But in this case, there's a car passing by, and your dog stares at the car while you're telling your dog with your voice to place. You're using your hand command and pointing to the place, and you're even flapping a T-bone steak, yet your dog will not place. The reliability in these has dropped down to 0, or somewhere between 0 and whatever percentage. However, what's the percentage chance that if you have a leash attached to your dog and you ask them to recall or to place and they don't do it, what's the percentage chance that the leash pressure will work?
The Shepherd Working Dog is saying 100%.
Good job.
Troy's saying 100%.
That's the answer, baby.
Yeah, 100% is the answer.
It's a 100% guaranteed all day, every day, if your dog was taught properly. If your dog was not taught properly, you can still reel them in, but it's going to be, frankly put, a shit show. So we must teach the dog what leash pressure is. And once they understand what leash pressure is, which is not very hard to teach, by the way, we teach this in our leash course, then your dog is what we call butter soft on the leash, and beyond that, 100% reliable. I don't care what level of distraction you're using, how far you go, or the duration. By the way, leash pressure struggles a little bit here, but we'll talk about it. But no matter the level of distraction, no matter how long the duration, the only thing you can use on this board to achieve 100% reliability at this moment is leash pressure, period.
Why is it 100 and not 90 and 80? Because a lot of people are putting high percentages in. But the answer is 100%. Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. The reason that I wouldn't say leash pressure is 80%, or let's talk about why people think it's 80%, is because the dog doesn't understand the leash pressure. But you know, we can dive into details here, and we will for just a minute. Scenario. Dog's on a leash. Let's call it 6 feet, 10 feet, 15 feet. Doesn't matter. It's out there. It's hooked up to a leash. Dog's motor is at a 100 mile per hour. It's hitting red line. It could be a police dog that's trying to bite a guy in a bite suit. It could be your dog that has crazy prey drive that's going after a squirrel or a cat or a bird. It could be a dog with crazy food drive. It could be a dog with leash reactivity and some type of territorial defensive drive that he is at a 100 miles per hour trying to kill something at the end of the leash, right? Something over that way. You're asking the dog to either recall to you this way or come onto a place board that's over this way, just for example purposes. The reason why it's 80% or you're not able to get your dog to come back 100% on the leash is, number one, it hasn't been properly trained in your dog. The dog may not understand the leash pressure. It also may not respect the leash pressure. Furthermore, you could have a scenario. Here's a great example. 130-pound Cane Corso, put whatever dog you want at the end of the line, hooked up to a harness with a 90-pound, 70-year-old lady trying to use the leash to pull the dog in. That ain't going to work. You might not even get 50% reliability there because it's the improper tool, and it's just, you can see how that equation falls apart. So we need the proper training, which often comes not just to technique, but getting the proper tool. So whether it's a slip lead, prong collar, or doing a ton of work making sure the martingale or the flat collar is empowered, then we get the reliability. But that's the name of the game. But it's a good one because even if you have a scenario where you're like, I want to use a harness and I'm 75-year-old, 90-pound woman, but I need my 130-pound Corso to respect my leash pressure. Not a problem. I got your solution coming up right now. We would just change the order of this totem pole. But let's save that then. I'm going to save that there, Cole. Let me come back to it. If you're only getting 70 or 80% reliability on your leash pressure, the next quadrant here, the next building block of the totem pole is going to fix all of this. Anybody know what this is? And please, if you took my course, let somebody else answer. And I appreciate all my customers and all my fans and all of our
people are getting it.
Oh yeah, baby. What is it? What could it be? Give me the wrong answers. What kind of crazy stuff people putting out there? Anything?
I don't see any wrong answers yet.
Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. How many folks do we have in there right now?
We have 202 people.
Perfect. E-collar, ladies and gentlemen. The e-collar.
Oh, Christy put whiskey.
Whiskey. That's for the owner. That's a totem pole over here. Yeah. Speaking of, I got my little coffee here. So, no, it's not spiked, but it keeps me going. E-collar, ladies and gentlemen. But this is the secret sauce, baby. Remember we talked about the secret sauce? Coming in with some more secret sauce. I want to pause for a minute and show you how jackass, dumb mother trainers are using the e-collar improperly because they're building a totem pole whether they know it or not. They are using the e-collar wrong. Someone give me an example of how you might use the e-collar wrong, because as you can see, this is how you build a totem pole. And whether you agree with our system or not, this is the only way to train a dog. Totem pole, classical conditioning. Well, I don't care if you use this graph or not. The only way you're going to pair something with something else is to do this equation, because it's just how dogs learn. We go back to the basics. Classical conditioning, knew before known, pairing. So where dog trainers go wrong, and we talked about this yesterday, is when they put you in a board and train program, charge you $3,000 for a 2-week wham bam, thank you ma'am. There's no time to build a totem pole. So you know they are building a totem pole. They're building it wrong. You know what they build? Anybody want to post? Did anybody post what that totem pole looks like?
No one's posted it yet, but people, someone's saying for punishment.
I'll show you.
Incorrect timing.
Incorrect timing, absolutely.
Yeah.
What they do is they build a short stack totem pole. This is what they start with. Leash pressure and e-collar and voice. And maybe in that order, maybe not in that order, probably not in that order. I'm pretty much telling you the order that they're going to do is they're going to say voice. They're going to tell the dog to place. Then when the dog doesn't do it, talking about. It doesn't, this is for, I hope some jackass trainers are watching this so you stop doing this. Freaking idiots. Destroying dogs doing this. They tell the dog to place. The dog doesn't know what the hell that means. And when the dog doesn't do it, they throw on leash pressure. But guess what? As we talked about, dogs come pre-installed from the factory, not understanding what leash pressure is. It's not a factory option that you can add on. Aftermarket accessory that you got to put in there. Take a little bit of time to teach a dog proper. So now they just threw something that the dog didn't know, combined it with something the dog still don't know, but no problem. No problem. I'll make the dog go on the place board. I'll throw in the e-collar. That'll work, right? You just paired a new thing with a new thing with a new thing, and it's going to equate in garbage. Horrible. But you say, well, then how does the dog learn? Well, it's kind of like if I threw you in the deep end of a pool and you didn't know how to swim, you're either going to figure it out or you're going to drown. Now, if I put just enough of a lifeline on you so you don't drown, we'll just wait until you figure it out. The next time I throw you in the pool, you ain't going to like it, but you'll probably have figured out some half-assed way to swim. And that's my best example that I can give you off the cuff on how this works. I can't even call that they're using a totem pole because it's all screwed up. And then what you get is a dog that's stressed, confused, doesn't know how to do anything, super flat, afraid of the pool, in a sense, afraid of the e-collar, doesn't understand leash pressure properly. Nothing beautiful was ever paired with it, and the dog is stressed. Does it work? Yeah, kind of. And that's where old school training gets a bad rap. What we're showing you here is starting with positive training, sprinkling in some old school to achieve a beautiful balanced result. And that's the name of the game. So let me show you how you actually teach e-collar. Can someone please, for a free course, and please make note of these guys, Alex, Alexandra, Cole. How do we teach e-collar? In a simple equation.
Very carefully.
Very carefully is correct. Someone put that?
No, I said that.
Zay, a bonus point. What's the equation? What do we pair the e-collar to? How do we pair the e-collar?
Someone said e-collar equals food lure.
Son of a, who's that?
Jenna Palmer.
Jenna Palmer, you just won a free course. Unleashed is what I go for if you don't got it. That is how we teach you this.
By the way, are people emailing us at info@DIYK9 for free courses?
Yeah, email us and we'll get you set up. But we got to take note of those names. But you just email us, yes, at info@DIYK9.com. I'll put it up here. And if you're one of the winners that we call out, let them know. My team is standing by.
Troy also said from the bottom to the top.
Yeah, you could do that. It's not wrong, Troy. But Jenna, y'all are killing it. The answer is whatever you want, whatever you want. I would go with, now here we'll get a little funky. Neither of these are wrong. It really depends on the individual dog. What you put next. What if the dog's food drive sucks? Then what do you put there? So someone said E equals food lure. Correct. But what if you have no food or the dog doesn't like food? Or you turn the e-collar on, it's very stressed and confused and freaked out, doesn't know how to turn it off.
Some people are saying E equals voice. I'm getting flooded with options. Some people are saying it depends on the dog.
Depends on the dog is correct. What's the next? And the answer is actually here.
Someone said leash pressure.
Yep. The answer is here, folks. Check it out. Which of these is the most powerful? Which of these, and you got to ask yourself this, which makes the dog more excited? Which is most reliable? Which is the cleanest and clearest? Which is the prettiest? And what do I mean by that? The food lure probably makes your dog fly onto the place board. But we already know the food lure in a sense of a distraction might drop down to a 0% reliability. The leash pressure might make your dog, depending upon how you teach it, It could make the dog a little slow to get on, but it's dead reliable, right? And there's so many factors. I'm just giving you an example of one particular dog. It could be that you go to use food lure and the dog ain't hungry at all. It could be a scenario where even if you went to use a hand command, the dog's simply not even looking at you because it's got a distraction. You didn't set up for that, but you went to use the e-collar. You put the e-collar pressure on. You went to deliver a hand command, and the freaking dog's not even looking at you. It's too busy looking behind it, underneath it, trying to figure out what that feeling is. Maybe it's looking at another dog or a leaf blowing. You must come in with the stack, what we call a safety net, and that is leash pressure. Most powerful thing on this board at this moment in time, because it's a 100% guarantee when taught correctly. So nobody was wrong. Everybody's correct. You pair the e-collar with whatever you want. Now, once you make a decision to pair the e-collar with something, trick question here, I think. What if you make a decision to pair the e-collar with food? Is that the only thing you should pair the e-collar with? That's what I want to know. Yes or no, is e-collar and food lure, is that the only equation we should use? If we decide to go down that path.
It seems like the majority is saying no.
Correct.
And by the majority, that's almost everyone.
Because check it out, folks, y'all are winning here. We're going to pair the e-collar with everything. I'm going to pair the e-collar with something the dog loves to get that fire, that speed, that excitement, that enthusiasm. Bam. Plenty of reps. Ooh, look at that support structure looking solid, baby. And then I'm going to always have in my back pocket, if not purposefully pair, the e-collar with leash pressure. You know why? Because I'm going to empower the leash. I'm going to empower the e-collar with the same power, properties, positives, any other P, that leash pressure brings to the game. Leash pressure is bringing the reliability. Food's bringing the excitement. Maybe the hand command is bringing focus. Maybe the voice is bringing a certain level of again, listening to me type of focus. So all of this gets paired. And now your e-collar, and I'll put it over here too. You can imagine the same support structure here. Your hand is paired with food. Your voice is paired with hand. Your voice is paired with food. And everything is paired with everything else. And now you have a totem pole that's like the freaking golden, what is it called over there in San Francisco? The Golden Gate Bridge. You got a totem pole that's just as strong, powerful, beefy as the Golden Gate Bridge. But wait, there's more. And then we're done. We still haven't got up here. And that's the problem. We still haven't achieved an empowered voice, not yet. This is the original voice command that you chose to use, but this is really only paired with the hand command. And this is really only paired with the food. The e-collar is paired to that, but the voice is not paired to this. You know why? Tell me why. Anybody, this is the one that gets people all lost in the sauce, baby. Why do we not have an empowered voice yet? And this is like the most powerful statement we'll make all day long. What you're about to see come before you. Cole, help me. What do they got?
I'm waiting.
This is a tricky one. And I see everyone stumped. Most people get stumped right here. We don't have an empowered voice yet because our empowered voice hasn't been paired to anything yet. This little rinky-dink voice right here was paired with the hand command and with the food lure because that's where it sits on the stack. But we already said that our hand command and our food lure can be anywhere from 0 to 90% depending upon the distraction. That's why we say, hey, your voice command maybe at this point, and maybe the folks, you at home, you tell me what's the percentage chance when the distractions are high that your dog listens to you. And we'll pause there for just a minute. We're actually going to pause there. I need y'all's help. Give yourself a situation of somewhere between a D3 to a D6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. And we'll go one at a time. I'll give one or two examples. You're out in your front yard with your dog. It's off leash. And a cat, a squirrel, or a car is like right there. It's moving across your yard. Your dog has snapped to look at it. what right now would, and you don't have to answer this, but if you have a dog that you might have out in your front yard and these scenarios pop up, what's the percentage chance right now that your dog will listen to you on a verbal voice command? I don't care if you yell, if you scream it 3 times in a row. What's the percentage chance while that distraction is present and probably getting even closer? Another dog, cat, squirrel, bunny, car, giraffe.
Lots of zeros.
Oh, it's 0%. Well, that's sad. That's why we're here. But that's the truth of the matter, 0%. And then we'll pause here for a minute too and say that, and this is where people get all their little butts hurt. It's too bad for them. Did you know, from the research we've done and from my experience in the field with over 20 years experience, that even police officers with highly trained police dogs, only about 30%, 33% can get reliability in their voice commands alone when the dog is under a high level of distraction. The example being a guy in a bite suit or an actual real bad guy in the flesh, 10, 15 feet away. Dog knows the target is there. Think of it as prey drive, if you will, but it's a prey drive on a distraction level of a 10 out of 10. By the way, it's not that different than most of your all's dogs when they see another dog or a cat or a squirrel or a bunny. It just depends what your dog is into, what they were bred for. In this case, these dogs were bred and trained to want to bite the guy in the bite suit on a 10 out of 10. And the voice command reliability in most police dogs, 30% or less with voice commands alone, because it's sad to say, I would probably say 80 or 90% of police agencies out there doesn't have the first clue what this is. Doesn't have the first clue about totem pole theory, doesn't have the first clue about classical conditioning. They got it all screwed up. It's sad, but it's the truth. It's not always the case, but often is. So what I'm trying to say is we can all do better. And now we're going to figure this one out. How do we get those police officers to have a 100% guaranteed recall, 100% guaranteed sit down, place, heel, whatever, in the place of the D10 distraction, and that's through an empowered voice? How do we achieve that? What is the equation? That's all I want to know. Everything is, as much as talking as I'm doing, as much crazy as we're getting deep into the weeds, we still come back to the surface, and it's the simplest thing. Anything and everything you want to teach your dog comes down to a simple equation. That's all you got to do. Ask yourself, whatever you're trying to solve in your dog's life, whatever you're trying to teach it, whether it's something good or to stop a bad behavior, the equation. And so what is the equation? Anybody got an answer?
Yeah, we got a lot of answers coming in. So
throw out the bad ones, the good ones. I want to hear them all.
Enzo said EC equals leash pressure equals empowered voice.
EC equals leash pressure equals, we'll just put it up. EC, which is e-collar, equals leash pressure equals empowered voice. That's what most people think.
So
that's wrong.
SM said e-collar equals go up the totem pole. Yeah, pretty much saying like go through all of them.
Nope.
You didn't write them out though, so then we've got EV. I'm not seeing anyone who's gotten it. Just
what's the
right. E-collar.
No, EV is
or empowered voice.
What did they say?
EV equals HC equals FL.
Nope.
No.
I'm going to write that one though.
No, that's why I haven't seen any of that.
EV equals HC equals food lore. By the way, I'm going to talk about this one for just a minute. Your empowered voice, which the dog doesn't understand yet. It doesn't understand that you are 100% in control of the situation. The only way this is going to take on the power of the things that come after it. So if your hand command in any certain scenario is, I don't know, 33%, and this is at 60%, you're pairing this with something that's at 33% and maybe 66%. The best that this will become is maybe somewhere in the middle, maybe up to 66% reliability.
So
that's a big fat maybe. This is positive only training. This is why positive only training fails. So I'm happy he brought that up. This is why positive only training simply doesn't work. Your empowered voice, or lack thereof, is empowered by what? Shit that doesn't work. Excuse the cursing, but we're going to drive the point home. Your voice, if it's only empowered by food lures, hot dogs and treats, if your hot dogs and treats aren't 110% reliable in the face of any given distraction, then your voice only has the power of what you pair it with. And if you're pairing it with hot dogs and those hot dogs don't work, then your voice doesn't work either, and your dog stops listening to you and thinks you're a freaking joke, right? That's where positive only training fails. I will go to the grave with that. I will fight tooth and nail anyone that wants to argue that. It doesn't work. So what do we got? We got one that works. And I'm happy y'all are doing it, and I appreciate you all putting them out there. I'm not beating you up for having the wrong answer. I actually love that you guys are putting incorrect answers because it gives us an opportunity to talk about it. I'm not saying you can't empower your voice a little bit with treats, but that's not a really empowered voice. That's this right here. That's why we said your voice down here, when it's only paired with the two things below it, 50% reliability. Cole, do we have a winner yet?
I think we got quite a few at this point.
I'm making you guys think through it so that it sinks in. That's how I like to teach. Make you think for a minute. Make you struggle.
I think the first one I'm saying is empowered voice equals e-collar plus leash pressure.
Sure, we'll throw it in there. But that's the example, and we'll pause here for a minute. Back over here, which of these have 100% reliability? Which of these by themselves are the most empowered? Is it your food lure? No. It's pretty powerful. When distractions are low and your dog is hungry and you have treats on you, this can get up there. But it's temporary, especially when your dog gets full, you run out of treats and distractions are present, this becomes a big fat 0. Hand command. Well, this is only built on that, so this can't be that powerful. It definitely is not going to be more powerful than food. It's probably going to be less powerful than the food. Then we get to your voice. The same thing. Your voice at this stage of the game, where most of you, let me just draw a line right here. This is where positive only trainers stop. And the most your voice is ever going to be is as powerful as these are in any given situation. I'm kind of repeating myself now. However, we now come into the Holy Land here. We come into the place where you're here to learn the secret sauce, and that's leash pressure. Leash pressure I've already discussed. I don't care when it's taught properly. I don't care if it's a level D10 distraction. And now we go back to that example of police canine handlers. I then ask those same handlers, if your dog is on a leash and there's a D10 distraction there, can you get your dog to sit, down, place, or recall? And the answer better be 100%. Surprisingly, it's not, but that's a whole other conversation. That's because they didn't teach it right. But if it is at 100%, which it's supposed to be, then we pair the e-collar with the leash pressure. We pair the e-collar with everything below it, and the e-collar isn't just 100%. You can call it 1,000%. It's perfect. It's amazing. It works. It works no matter what level of distraction. Doesn't matter how far you are away or how long you ask them to hold the command. If taught properly and paired correctly with everything below it, your e-collar is at a 100%. 100%. So is your leash pressure. God forbid you use these two in combination. Now we're really talking. So your empowered voice is then paired with the e-collar and or the leash pressure as a safety net if things get funky, which they shouldn't, but sometimes they do. That is how you get an empowered voice. And now we're here at the empowered voice. This is paired with everything below it, but namely these two right here. And what do you think the reliability of your voice is now? That's the answer. But that's how you get there. And that's how we started about an hour ago. If you want to have an empowered voice, you got to build a totem pole. The order in which you build a totem pole is completely up to you. I'm going to give you a different example. This is getting a little fancy here, but we'll draw it really fast now that you all understand the process. Give me an example, Cole, or maybe someone can ask, what's a different command that we want to teach, but I'll teach it and I'll do an out of order totem pole. Or a funky order totem pole. I'm trying to think of one. We do a few. I'll do.
Speak. Someone said speak.
Okay, we can do that one later. That's going to be so funky though. Let's do.
Leave it.
Yeah, there's not even a big totem pole for that.
No, we could do leave it.
All right, leave it. Leave it's a very simple totem pole, if you like. Down and dirty. You ready? What do y'all think the equation is for leave it? The thing that we want to charge up is the word leave it. So here are your variables here. There's leave it, the verbal, and then something else that's going to be paired with it. What do y'all think leave it should be paired with? Because it's new before known. The word leave it doesn't mean jack diddly squat to your dog. The dog's never heard it before. You might even yell it at them, but they're like, I don't know what you're yelling about. I don't know what that word means. So what we have to figure out is what already works. What do we know that will stop a dog? And let's give the example of leave it. The dog's about to eat a rock or a chicken bone or some other dog's pee or poop, something that can either seriously make it sick or even kill it. $3,000, $4,000 surgery if it eats that rock. So we can't let it eat that rock. So what is something that we know we could interject at that moment to stop the dog from eating the rock?
I see a couple people got this when they're saying leash pressure.
Yeah, leash pressure. So we have leave it and leash pressure, but I want to see if you all figure this one out yourselves. What's the order? Which comes first and then which comes second? Or do they come at the same time? Spit them out as they come.
So leash pressure equals voice.
No, wrong. Because leash pressure is something that they're going to learn kind of the down and dirty way. They don't know what the hell leave it means, but trust me when I tell you, if you pop a dog on a leash and you do it at the right timing, you do it with the right tool, you do it as firmly as you need to teach the dog that doesn't work. The order is, and this again, this is where everyone gets it wrong, is they do everything backwards. We say leave it, which they don't know, followed by a leash pressure pop that they do know. How do they know this? Because it's Mother Nature. It's very simple. What's the example for humans? I'm trying to think of a human example.
A little kid's running into the road where like a busy road.
I'm thinking one. It'll come to me in a minute. I don't normally get stumped, but I'm trying to think of the human equivalent of leave it. Yeah, I just this is the first thing that comes to me.
Touch a hot stove.
Sure, that's decent. What if it's your girlfriend, boyfriend, girlfriend? Boyfriend looks at something he's probably not supposed to be looking at. You know what I'm talking about? And their girlfriend says something to the effect of, "You're an asshole," followed by a smack. I guess he is a dog, isn't he? At that point, he's going to learn real quick not to be looking when he ain't supposed to be looking. But I'll give you something different. What if she smacks your lips and then, bah! Well, that smack of the lip is going to become very powerful after a couple of leash pressure pops delivered by the girlfriend. Kind of a silly example, but that's the name of the game. So that's the totem pole there is simple. It's very easy. Leash pressure pops the dog knows because it's going to learn that very naturally. Learns it the first rep, and we put leave it on top. Done. That's an empowered voice. You can actually empower the word leave it just by pairing it with a leash pressure. You can put e-collar there too if you want. Not always ideal, but sometimes you need to. Simple as that. Those are shorter, simpler totem poles. But I'm going to do one like maybe something that's a little more realistic. Just need a command. I'm trying to think of one that we want to use. Let's do, let's just do the place board in a different order. I love the place board because it can represent a lot of things. In fact, I'll do a crate, just a derivative of the place board. If we want our dog to go into the crate, there's some dogs out there that are smart. You throw food in the crate, they're like, I ain't going in. Because the last time you threw food in there, I went for the food and then you locked me in. That's a bad equation. You messed up the equation. So what was that equation? Let's just do it wrong. Food equals crate equals door locked equals suck. Now your dog doesn't trust the food in the crate because you locked the door and it sucked. That's a stack that you inadvertently created because you did the training wrong, right? You meant to do it well. You did the food equals crate, which was great, but you ended on a suck. If it sucks, everything that comes before it takes on the flavor of the suck. So I want to make sure we're not ending our equations with suck unless it's something like the leave it command and it does end on a suck. That's the whole point. So now we're getting into the weeds, but let's build a crate command, but let's just do it completely out of order. We have a dog that already understands leash pressure. So we're going to start with leash pressure. The dog doesn't know how to go into the crate. It doesn't know how to maybe go onto an object that it's never seen before. In this case, it's just a crate. But it does understand forward leash pressure. This is a communication that it does understand. When we put the leash on the dog and we gently guide the dog into the crate, it follows because it understands leash pressure. It trusts it and it knows that leash pressure will lead it somewhere awesome. So that equation is leash pressure into crate, and then we reward it with food. Leash pressure now means going into crate, but I don't want to name it yet because it's not pretty enough yet. It will only go into the crate when I use leash pressure. So then you can actually, if you know what you're doing, and I don't recommend you do this unless you really know what you're doing, you can stack e-collar next. You haven't named it. You haven't used a food lure. You're just going straight old school. Leash pressure followed by e-collar. Now you're going to say, oh, the dog is not going to like going in the crate. Of course they are, because we're ending the equation with something awesome. Okay, I'll draw a different equation here. This time we put a little e-collar pressure on, something that the dog understands very well. It just doesn't understand it in the context of crate, but it does understand it on the context of recall in place. We're just simply training the dog that when you feel e-collar pressure, sometimes it means that I want you to go into the crate. But if you don't go into the crate, that's no problem because I'm going to help you with the leash pressure and then you will go into the crate. And then when you do go into the crate, you still get paid. So it's a win-win-win. And again, remember, it ends on something awesome. So everything that comes before it is now also awesome. Going in the crate is awesome. When I feel e-collar near the crate, it's awesome because I go in and I get paid food. When I feel leash pressure in and around the crate, no problem. I go in because I get paid. Life is wonderful. That's how you stack what's supposedly aversive training. And you make aversive training not aversive anymore. You make it fun. That way, when you stim the dog, if you have a dog that's properly trained, when they feel leash pressure or an e-collar in and around the crate, they fly in. You know why they fly in? They fly in fast because we've been stacking food with these as well. After we got the leash pressure, after we got the e-collar, and you're loving it, and both of these are at 100%, I might throw on a hand command. After I throw on the hand command, I might, I'm trying to think what else I might do. I'll just end it here on an empowered voice. I didn't name it till I loved it. I saved that for the last. And this is paired here. And this is actually fast tracking the dog to crate training, yet they love it. This is just a different way to build a totem pole. It's not wrong. This is a typical way of doing it. This is a slightly atypical way of doing it. But if you know what you're doing, you can all but skip steps. This is a dog that's already understanding what we call an operant dog. It understands how to play the game. It's already learned a bunch of other totem poles. And that's how you can get a dog that understands, like you understand how to communicate with it. You can build totem poles in one session. So I know this seems like a lot of work. It is in the beginning, but once you understand how to build a totem pole and once your dog understands these different parts of the totem pole, you can create a totem pole on any command you want very quickly and then make it very robust. And at the top, we're always looking for that empowered voice. There's other things too where you don't even need the empowered voice. You could build a totem pole where it has nothing to do with your voice. It's just the situation dictates. For instance, stopping and sitting and waiting at a front door, you can have that 100% reliable without you ever saying a voice, just by kind of stopping anywhere you want, that it makes sense for the dog. All right, so we kind of killed that one. I hope you all are appreciating what we're throwing at you here. This is really the secret sauce. Again, there ain't a, I don't think there's a YouTube video anywhere out there that's going to show you what we just shared with you. This is just the tip of the iceberg of the things that we teach in our DIY canine courses. Again, that's what today is all about. If you liked what you saw so far, if it makes sense to you, if you want to help your dog learn how to build totem poles, you want to do it the right way, then I highly suggest you check out our website, DIYcanine.com. We have a Black Friday sale that ends today. And when it ends today, baby, that's it. The prices are actually going up. So this is your last opportunity. The premium membership is what's on sale. The premium membership shows you everything you need to train your dog to be the best it can be. And part of it is how you build totem poles. It's just one part of it. It's one of the secret sauces that we bring to the table. And very proud of it. And a lot of trainers don't know how to do this. And they sure as hell don't know how to verbalize it. Sorry if that sounds cocky, but I've been around the game for a while, and I've gone to police canine handlers and showed them this. They've been in the game 25 years, and they're like, blows their mind. So, and it's really not that, it's not difficult. But even as we're explaining, you saw people kind of getting it wrong. I get it. That's because of bad reps, we call it, bad reps. People doing things kind of ass backwards in the wrong way. Let me look at my notes here because there's one more thing I want to teach you. Perfect. We're going to do FHVLE. It's already up on the board. You see how the back looks? The back is clean. We'll leave this up. FHVLE. Anybody know? Well, you're not going to know what that stands for, but we'll go ahead and draw this out. I'm going to draw a mini version of this. So what we're going to show you is the totem pole, but on a graph. And this is something that you should build for your own dog to keep track of its progress and keep track of your progress to understand if you know that the dog is understanding what's happening. So help me build this, Cole. What should we have here? First, we'll just have the dog's name.
What are we teaching?
The FHVLE chart.
Okay, but like, are we?
And we're actually going to build it live with someone here, a couple people. We're going to ask 2 people. Prepare for this. I want a dog that's, I don't care what stage of training it's at. Let's go with a super highly trained dog. I'm going to call them 3 groups. A super highly trained dog. We're going to go with a dog that's like kind of, you know, it's a pretty good. Maybe you went to a training somewhere, you dabbled in some training. The dog, hey, he's pretty good. And then we're going to go with, to start, and this is what I'm looking for, a dog that's completely untrained, whether it's an 8, 10, 12-week-old puppy, or it's just not very well trained, regardless of how old it is. And we're going to just put your dog's name on a chart, and we're going to map out how good its skill set is. We're going to see how those totem poles look, if that makes sense. So let's go with the sit. And then we will do a down. We're just going to put some of the basics up here. And then we'll do recall. And you can put whatever you want. You can build this for any commands that you want. Let's do the heel. And then we'll do one more. Give me one more. What do you think? Sit down, recall, heel. Let's do the place.
Yeah,
it's my favorite.
Place.
I like the place.
Yep, people are saying place.
Perfect. Thank you all. All right, now, the first person, and there's a limit, like you can only type every 30 seconds. We have that for a reason, so people don't spam. I want you to identify someone who has a brand new dog. Dog don't listen to nothing. That's the person I want. If that's you, I want you to tell me how your dog is doing on the sit, the down, and the recall. But we're going to make this make sense for you. Before we do that, and I think for the sake of the 30-second thing, we're going to do them all at the same time. So Chelsea, if Chelsea's still there, I might call on you. But Cole, see if you can identify someone that fits in category 1, which is untrained or very minimal training. The next one is like medium. And the next one is a dog that's got it.
Well, someone put Sailor, a 9-week-old. I'm assuming
Sailor.
that's perfect.
Done. Sailor's going here. Untrained. Sailor like a sailor?
Yes.
Sure. Sailor, you're going here. I need a medium dog. Who's got a dog that's, hey, it listens. It's not perfect. It's on the way there.
We got a 6-year-old male Cane Corso. Sit and stay, yes. Place, no.
All right.
Recall depends.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and we might use that if there's anyone else jump in, but I also need someone who's got it. Don't be afraid to say you got it because no one's got it perfect. No one has anything perfect. No such thing as perfect. We strive for perfect. They might have this perfect, but not everything else. Anyways, I'm going to give you a kind of a blank. The idea here is sample. This all makes sense in a minute, and I like putting this up. You should all build this for your own dog. Takes 2 minutes, and you'll have it figured out.
We'll use Chelsea's dog, Samuel.
Chelsea's in?
For the got it, I think.
All right. Got it or close to got it?
Yes, we'll say close to got it.
Samuel, I still need a medium or a schmedium in some cases. So while we're waiting, just identify it, Cole, and let me know what it is and let them know. What we are looking to achieve is a dog that when you ask them to sit, you've built a totem pole on sit and you have an empowered voice and they do it every time. But I'm going to walk you through it. You got an 8, 10, 12-week-old puppy. If you have food on you, you can get a pretty decent sit. Like, it's decent. So we'll give that dog 1 check mark, 1 out of 5. Then, because you've done so much work with your food lore, you went ahead and started doing Uncle Garrett's training philosophy. And you said, let's go ahead and stack in a hand command. Why not? We're going to play to the dog's strengths. Check mark. Then you wanted to continue up the totem pole. And once your food lore and your hand command was looking money, you say, you know what, Garrett? I'm going to go ahead and throw in my voice. And now the dog, when you say sit, pretty good chance the dog does it. I'm not saying it's 100% reliable. Of course it's not. We've already discussed that on the totem pole. It can't be reliable, especially when distractions are present. But when there's no distractions, dog's hungry, dog's focused, dog looking at you, there's a 3 out of 5 chance. You got a 3. We're looking good. The dog knows how to sit with food. It knows how to sit with a hand command, and it knows how to sit with its voice. Again, this is where positive only stops. But we're gonna go a little step further. What I want to know is, does your dog know how to sit with leash pressure? And yes, it better. It needs to, because the only thing that you're going to be able to use to get the reliability. So now your dog has an L, and we throw in another check. And then because you're going for the bonus, you're going for the gold, we might throw in an E. E-collar, right? That's what the E stands for. And we're going to be 5 out of 5 check marks. So that's food, hand, voice, leash, E-collar. And then trust me when I tell you, if you have all of these, then it's without question, you have an empowered voice. That's why you got a 5 out of 5. So what you need to ask yourself is do you have check marks across the board? And do you have an FHVLE on all of them? Now, in the case of a recall, you might completely skip a hand command. So your dog will recall when you have food. Your dog will recall to your voice. Your dog will recall if the leash is on, and it'll recall with an E. And that might be all you need. You don't need to throw in a hand command for a recall unless you want to. But you can still have a 5 out of 5. What's the 5 out of 5 also mean? It'll do it under a D10 distraction. You've tested it. You know it works. It's guaranteed. The dog's recall is freaking money. Now, you can dive in deeper, and if you want to get real nitty-gritty, is like, does it do it cleanly? Does it come front center? Does it come into heel position? Does it come with speed and enthusiasm, et cetera, et cetera? You can base your 5 check marks however you like. And then you can do the same with heel in place. All right. So what I want is Sailor, the untrained dog. I also, who's my schmedium?
We'll do Scout, a golden retriever, 2 years old.
Sweet. So we got Sailor, Scout, and Samuel. You couldn't have, and the sample. We're doing all the S's today. I love it. All right. So I need Sailor, Scout, and Samuel all, and nobody else jump in so that Cole can't, try to filter through all these questions and comments. Starting with Sailor, then going straight to Scout, and then moving to Samuel. I need to know, give me a number first. Give me a 1, 2, 3, 4, or a 5. That's your check marks. And then I also need to know, do you have an F, an H, a V, an L, or an E? Food. Does your dog, so Sailor should be, I don't know, a 1 and food or hand. Food and hand. Samuel, I want to hear from you though. Go ahead and just post it. Samuel, we're at 4 check marks or 5 check marks on that sit. And do you have FHVLE? So just type that response now. Give me the number and give me the letters, and then we're going to kind of judge and see, and then we'll go faster. We'll move along. By the way, this is Thanos. Abba.
That's Thanos for you. He doesn't recall that nicely.
All right. Do we have anything coming through?
I'm waiting.
We're waiting, folks. Don't overthink it. Just give me a rough number. We're not judging you. We're just trying to figure it out. Give me a 1, 2, 3, 4, or a 5, and then just tell me F, H, V, L, and or E. This is our little system. This is how we keep track of where dogs are on a chart so that we can come in and figure out where the dog needs work.
So Chelsea went ahead and responded.
Chelsea, what do we got?
She said 5 for FHVLE, and I'm assuming that's for everything.
Yeah, she's stacked. Yeah, so it's not 5F, 5H. It's either, if you've only got an F, you probably only got a 1 or a 2.
So I believe, give me one.
So it's not like F5, H5, V5, L5, E3. No. It's just give me your check marks. And we can just do that simply. Give me a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And I don't want to slow this down or more people, but I like doing it live.
Sailor is a 4 lure in hand. Now that doesn't quite make sense to me because if it was
right, so I maybe explained it wrong. So the dog has a food lure and it has a hand command. So I'm going to tell you now, Sailor, that at best you got a 1 or a 2, a 1 or a 2. Period. So it's overall. Think of these as separate, right? Because you could have a dog that has a food, hand, voice, and leash pressure, even e-collar, and it's still a 3 out of 5. Because it's just not that good. Like it does it, it's just not that good. The totem pole's being built. It's on its way to being built. The dog understands the concept. It's just not super clear. So moving on, give me a Scout or give me a Samuel. Samuel, we know, is stacked. I'm interested in this one. I want to know, like, if you just don't overthink this, folks. If you ask your dog to sit in 100 different scenarios with 100 different levels of distractions or no distractions, sometimes you have food, sometimes you don't have food. Sometimes you have a leash, sometimes you don't. What is the percentage chance, or what is your just simple score, right? Like Simon Cowell, is he going to give you the thumbs up, or is he going to give you the thumbs down? Are you going to get a 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, or 5 star? So Scout the schmedium, let me know. But then we'll move on to this one. I need the same thing, Sailor, Scout, and Samuel on your down, and then we'll move this along. Just give me a simple number. How well does your dog down? Between a 1 and a 5. How well does your dog down, Scout, between a 1 and a 5? And Samuel, how well is Samuel's down on a 1 through 5?
Looks like so Scout is a 5 on sit, and then he's got an HVLE.
Hand, voice, leash, E. That's good. And then give me some numbers for the downs.
For the down, this is for Samuel. He is a 5 FHVLE.
Beautiful. That's what we want to see.
And then for the down, Sailor is a 2. I'm waiting on. I'm assuming that's a F and an H there.
Probably, yeah. We'll find out though. And then Scout, let me know. But as you see, as we're starting to draw this chart out, and it's not to bore you all, it shouldn't take this long, but you just start to fill in the gaps, and I'll kind of fill them in. I bet you.
Oh, for Sailor, the down is a 2 leash and voice.
Leash and voice. So that's interesting. That's interesting. I'm not saying that's wrong.
Well, it also says lure as well, but that would be.
Oh, so that's food.
Yeah.
All right.
So
they got a leash pressure on there. So that's a food, voice, and leash, she said too, right? Or no?
Yeah, she said the leash, but again, that would be 3 check marks. So
not necessarily.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Not necessarily. Again, the dog might do it with food, it might do it with voice, it might do it with leash, but it sucks so bad we only give it a 1, right? So somewhere on a 1 or a 2, but you can start to see now where the gaps are, and this is where our red little pen comes in. So when you go to train your dog, it's just a system that we like to keep track, and I'm just going to kind of fill this in. I'm just going to assume that Sailor's healing is a 0. And maybe with food, you can kind of half-ass do it. So give it 1 check mark. Place, probably a 1. Maybe can do it with food, maybe with a hand command. Voice isn't there yet. Recall, maybe a 1 with food. And that's it. This is obviously untrained dog. That's why we picked it. What do we have to do to get Sailor to look like that? And then with the Scout, the Schmedium here, who knows what it is?
So they're saying 3 to 4 on the down, which is a food, hand, voice, leash, E.
Food, hand, voice, leash, E. So Scout isn't really untrained. It's just okay, right? So 3 out of 5. So probably don't have an empowered voice on this down. So then we would look at, if you wanted to break it down, we would look at your totem pole and we would simply figure out where the problem is, Scout. It's that simple. Even if you already have a half-ass built totem pole, you probably built it without even knowing you built it. But then we go back into the totem pole and I'll just simply ask you, like, what's not good? What's better than the other? What is better? And we'll just ask Scout. Maybe you can answer this. When it comes to the down, which of these, is it your food lure, your hand command, your voice command, your leash, or your e-collar, is going to give you the better percentage chance? What's the cleanest? What's the prettiest? What's the most reliable? If you had to pick one, which one would you go to? And again, it's like the world is your oyster here. You can have any food on you. You can have the leash. You can have the e-collar. If you had to pick one thing to get Scout to drop into a down, clean, pretty, and hold it, which would you go with? Because that's what I want to know. Because then what we do is we go back into your totem pole and we use that and almost rebuild the totem pole, but use that as your base layer. That's the idea. So that we can come back and clean this up and get you a 5 out of 5. So that's the name of the game, folks. You can see Sailor here is on its way, but Sailor's got a lot of work to do. And then you can do this for your own dog and you can see where the gaps are and the holes are. I don't want to like overdo this, but Samuel should be a 5 out of 5 FHVLE all day.
Chelsea is saying 4 on recall.
Okay, then Chelsea, we got to make that 4 of 5. And we figure out what it is that's going to make it. I'm telling you now, the answer is going to be e-collar. So Chelsea needs help here with Samuel. Her chart looks more like this. Oops, I did it wrong. FHV. And I'm just guessing.
She's saying it's got E, but
yeah, but the E's probably not where it needs to be. It's just
she's
a guess.
Struggling with it, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing this through a live, so it's not like we're driving into the details. So we only got a 4 out of 5 because something's wrong with that E, and which is probably means your voice isn't quite where it needs to be. So we're not even going to put it there. You know what I'm saying? We got an FHL. The E's getting there. Soon enough, the voice will be there too. Your voice will be what we want, because if your recall is not at 100%, then that means your voice ain't quite right either. So that's some work that needs to be done. Here, we need everything. We need voice, leash, and E at some point. We need a hand, voice, leash, E. There you go. And you can see where you need to do the most work. So not a lot of work needs to be done here, but we need to get some work there. And it's not to like say you're doing anything wrong. This is what it's like to train a dog. The dogs don't come out of the box trained. You start with empty boxes, and then we come in and we fill them in. And then you can, at a glance, using this chart, go, okay, today I'm going to train Sailor. Hey, Cole, I see that you trained Sailor yesterday, or maybe it's a husband-wife team. Honey, I saw you made some notes here. I think we should focus on this. By the way, we won't fill it up with a bunch of red, but we might say over here, hey, Cole, yesterday I worked Sailor on place, but he's ready for it. He's ready for what? Show him the leash, baby. So Cole knows to come in there and do nothing but work Sailor on place board for maybe a whole session or a half a session. By the time he finishes that session, and in as little as 1 session, he can have that figured out, and he can change that L from a red to a black, and we're freaking winning. It's that simple. This is just the totem pole, but these are mini totem poles. It's like a zoomed out view of what your totem poles look like, and then you can zoom back in and tweak them how you like them. So hopefully all like that. Little secret sauce. And then let me look at my notes, because I think we are just about killing it for today. Really trying to, oh, this is the last thing we're going to talk about. This one's going to get all your panties in a twist now. Get ready. I told you put your seatbelts on. Make sure your airbags are also armed and you're not sitting too close to the dash, because this one's just going to, this one will hurt some people right here. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a heart. And Cole, let me know if we get any, if y'all liking what we're doing. Because is the next thing we're going to talk about. We getting any love?
Oh yeah,
Got
plenty
some
of
folks
love.
in here?
Plenty of love.
How many people we got?
We've got 165.
Perfect. All right, folks. We got any top contributors there?
We've had quite a few top contributors actually.
And I really appreciate you all. And again, while we pause for a minute and get reset for this next thing, and this is the last thing we're going to teach today, just once again, this is how we keep the lights on around here. This is how we're able to do what we do. This is how we're able to provide you with this type of knowledge. And that is by y'all coming to our website, DIYK9.com. Just check out the description. We have every course you need to train your dog from 0 to hero, all of the basic commands, all the way up to advanced commands, both on and off leash, anything from raising your puppy to walking your dog properly on the leash, to using food lures, to using leash pressure, to using e-collar so you can build a totem pole for your dog so your dog can be in it to win it. You can take it anywhere and everywhere, and the dog actually listens to you no matter how high the distraction is. But we show you how to do it step by step. We hold your hand. And the thing that's on sale right now in the Black Friday deal is the premium membership, which includes every single one of our courses, along with weekly lives that are not too dissimilar than this, where we speak to the camera and we answer your questions live. You get that weekly. Each time we do that, it's at least an hour. Sometimes it's up to 2 hours long. We answer any question and every question that we get asked. And we make sure to provide you the answers you need so that you don't get stuck on your dog training journey. Because if you want to take a look at yesterday's live, which is probably just as long as today's live, because we're not holding anything back, what you find is missing in group training, private training, and board and train is no one's teaching you how to maintain and or train your dog. Or I should say it differently. No one's teaching you how to train your dog, and they're definitely not teaching you how to maintain it. And so you get a lot of cases of spending thousands of dollars on dog training, and your dog ain't trained for jack diddly squat because you weren't trained either. And so we circumvent that. We hack the system, and we show you how to train your own dog so that your dog actually freaking listens to you when you need it to listen to you. And the more you work on it, the better it gets. And that's the beauty of it. So it's really not hard. It only takes 5 to 15 minutes a day to get your dog to be very well trained, very well trained. And then at some point, it's just on autopilot. But anyways, that was for yesterday. That's what we talked about. Now we're going to dive into the breed. And then what was it you're doing behind the scenes, Cole?
I'm looking for top contributors right now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So that's what's going on. Use the coupon code. Someone can flag it there into the chat thread. In it to win it is one of the codes that we're using, and it gets you 20% off the premium membership, which again gives you everything, all of our support, access to the private community where you can ask other trainers, the moderators, anyone on my team and myself questions. If you're not into lives and you just want the question answered in a written format, we do that as well. No matter what course you buy, you're able to access that where you can ask us a question, and we have a pretty good response time. Used to take anywhere from 1 day to a few days, and now we got it pretty good. You're getting same day, next day answers to your question, which is just unheard of. So we have the best support team on the internet, period. And I think our courses are 100% the best. So enough blabbing from me, but we've actually had people take our courses and become professional dog trainers. That's how good they are. It's no wonder, because we're professional dog trainers and we're showing you exactly how we do it. So that's my little sales pitch. If you want to support us, go over there, get the premium membership on sale now, $947. Everything you need to train, not only the dog you have now, every single dog you'll ever have for the rest of your life, you'll be able to train. And if you want to become a professional dog trainer and make money doing it, I guess you can do that too. So that's my little sales pitch. But now we ask this question. But will it work for my blank? Yeah, but Garrett, I see you train Corsos all the time. But do you know how to train? And I'm not lying to y'all. I get asked this question probably 5 times a day or more in the Instagram DMs, and probably 100 times if we looked at the freaking comment section. Hundreds to thousands of times every day we get asked the same. Actually, it's a stupid question. But will it work for my Dachshund, Dachshund? Will it work for my Dalmatian? Will it work for my Great Dane? Will it work? I've seen you do it with the German Shepherd, but seriously, Garrett, will it work for my fill in the blank? And the answer is, of course it will. Of course it will. It's not a different species we're talking about. It's a slightly different breed. You know what makes the dog different in breed? They share 99% of the same genetics, 99.9. The only difference is one might have longer hair, One might have different colors. One might be taller, one might be shorter. But dogs are dogs, folks. And I know it's going to hurt y'all's feelings because I know you think your dog that might be a Rottweiler is so different and special than the Labrador. And yeah, there might be some truth to it. Absolutely, your dog is special, but it's not special because it's a Rottweiler. It's special because it's its own creature. And let me break this down for you before you all start throwing things at your phone or your computer or whatever. The training system that we use is applicable for any dog of any age, regardless of the, again, we say age, breed, or temperament. But I wanted to like break this myth that I don't know where this comes from, that if you have a different dog, like if you have a Rottweiler, you have to go to someone who specializes in training Rottweilers. No, a good dog trainer can train any dog because they're all trained the same way. It's the same thing. But, and again, I go back to this because there's contradictions in dog training. Even though I might train a Great Dane this way, I will change and modify the training I'm doing with the Great Dane if I'm training a Chihuahua. But what if, because this is where it really comes in, it's not about the breed, it's about the dog, and the dog specifically, their temperament, oh, I'm going to spell this wrong, and their personality. It's not about the breed. Yes, the breed plays the smallest little factor. It gives you a rough idea what you're working with. But it's more about the dog's individual temperament or personality. It's how you shape the training. Because here's the example. Big Great Dane, powerful, little baby Chihuahua. Except the Great Dane is afraid of its own freaking shadow. It's scared of everything. It's very shy. It has no food drive. And it's shaking in its boots because it poor genetics and a bad upbringing. So is it that we train it because it's a Great Dane, we train it a certain way? Or do we take in the other factors, such as the dog's temperament and personality, when we decide to build that dog's totem pole? How we do it, whether we use food or leash pressure or not, versus the sweet little Chihuahua who's an absolute holy terror, has bitten 10 people, chases the cat and tries to kill it, and is absolutely dominating the entire household of other dogs and big and small humans. So is it the sweet little Chihuahua and we must train that Chihuahua a different way because it's a Chihuahua? Or do we take into the other factors such as the dog's temperament and personality when we decide to train that individual dog? And that's just two extreme examples. And now we have everything in the middle. So now I'm going to give you an example of training just a pretty simple dog that everybody understands. I say simple, but everyone has probably met one in its life. Golden Retriever. Now, how do you train, Garrett, a Golden Retriever? How do you train a Golden Retriever different than a Corso? Because I know you train Corsos, but I don't know, man. Golden Retrievers are just different. It's a different breed. Can you tell me a trainer that's very familiar with this breed? How about I just find you a trainer that's good with all breeds? Because they understand the science and the art of dog training. And it doesn't matter what the breed is, because I don't care so much that it's a Golden Retriever. I want to know, more importantly, the age. I want to know personality. I want to know its temperament. I want to know maybe its history. I want to know its attitude. Because let's talk about it real quick. 2 Golden Retrievers, same age, 12 months old. Personality. One is a freaking nutcase. Loves humans, loves people, loves dogs, loves treats. Happy-go-lucky. That, by the way, is your typical Golden Retriever. So really happy-go-lucky, kind of a nutcase. Just a happy nut. That's what we'll call him. But then you got another Golden Retriever, has bit 2 people, doesn't like food, and is a dominant territorial bit of a turd. It's a Golden Retriever, folks. I don't care how many Golden Retrievers you train from this category. If you never trained a dog in this category, I don't care. You're not going to be able to train it, regardless if it's a Golden Retriever or not. This is just a silly little thrown at the board example, but it's not the breed that matters. It's your dog's individual personality and temperament. And that's where I'm happy to say we've trained it all. We've trained a ton of different breeds. We show all those breeds in our courses, but I don't care. But people get hung up. But have you trained a this? Maybe we have, Maybe we haven't, but I guarantee you we've trained a dog with your personality, your temperament, and your age with various different histories and attitudes. That's what I want you to focus in on. So it really has to do with like the volume of the dogs that we've trained or other trainers have trained, but also kind of the diversity of the dogs. And again, not having anything to do with breeds, because we've trained dozens of Corsos. Every single one of those Corsos has an absolutely different personality. They don't fall into just some mold of what Corsos are supposed to be. We've had some that are afraid of their own shadow. We've had some that are absolute killers, and everything in between. And that's what I wanted to dispel as a myth. So I kind of don't like getting asked, I mean, I appreciate the question, but there's no way for her to answer that. Yeah, but Garrett, have you ever trained a Afghan wolfhound? No, I have not trained an Afghan wolfhound. I think that's it. Or is it just an Afghan hound? I'm sorry. An Irish wolfhound, an Afghan hound. I've never trained an Irish wolfhound or an Afghan hound, but you know what? I know I could train it zero issues. And you know what I'm going to do to modify my training to fit that particular breed? Nothing. I am going to look at the individual dog to determine what that dog needs. Does it have a high food drive? Great. Does it hate leash pressure? Understood. We're going to fix that. Do we have the other dog? No food drive. Great with leash pressure. Great. We're going to capitalize on that. So that's the name of the game. Don't get hung up on breed. And if, our training is going to work for your particular dog, yeah, 100%. So that is what I really wanted to answer. Now, I hope we put that to bed. I hope that makes sense. This is not to say, again, your dog isn't special because it's some special breed you paid a lot of money for and it's a pedigree, or it's a mutt. I mean, we even talk about that. A hybrid, a dog that's made up of 5 or 6 different, breeds built into it. We could train that just as good, by the way. I kind of like that because we take the whole breed concern out of it, and it's really, now we have to really dial in and say, well, how does this dog with 6 different things sprinkled in, how does this dog behave? So then that really throws this, you can't even have a discussion on breed. Is what breed is the dog? It's everything. It's 6 different things. Oh, so if it's mixed with a Rottweiler and a Golden Retriever and a Labrador, a little bit of Chihuahua sprinkled in with Pit Bull, then we're going to have to train it like we would train a Golden Retriever, Chihuahua, Pit Bull, Labrador. Come on now. Of course not. We train it like a dog. And now I'll switch the script and say it differently. And this is not to get politically incorrect, though someone's probably going to get hurt, even though I don't mean any disrespect. But I ask you, if you were a teacher and you were training a classroom of kindergartners, 20 kids in the class, one is a 5-year-old girl, and she's a white girl from North Carolina. The kid sitting next to her is a 6-year-old boy who was born in China, so he's Asian, but he moved here. In fact, he was born here, but his parents are both Asian. He also lives in North Carolina. But wait, Garrett, there's a 5-year-old boy who was born in Russia, and he immigrated here 2 years ago, but he's from Russia, speaks English, and so on and so forth it goes. By the way, this one's blonde. This one has black hair. This one has red hair. And then we got to throw up another one. We need another girl up there. A 6-year-old girl. Where is she from, Cole? Help me out. Hispanic, right? Her parents are from Cuba, so she has Cuban descent. Right? But was born in Florida before moving to North Carolina. And this I have to take off. Someone's going to take a screenshot and say, what the hell? Instead of breed, we just change out and put this word. Whatever word you want to put. how do you teach these kids to read? I mean, you can't teach the kid with the Asian heritage how to read the same as the 5-year-old girl from North Carolina. That's what I'm getting at, folks. So whether you want to call this a German Shepherd, Rottweiler, it's the same thing. Look different, different size, height, and weight, different hair color, come from different areas. Like Rottweiler comes from Germany. Shiba Inu comes from what? Japan, China? Yeah. You get the idea. So I just want to put that to bed. Again, it's not, if anyone's offended, then go jump out the nearest window. That's what I think about when we're training dogs. Don't get so hung up on the color of the dog's hair or how big or small it is or what country it was originally bred from. In the end, they're all dogs. Just like in the end, the examples I put up here, they're all kids. And most kids learn the same way. Now, did the kid from Asia maybe struggles reading, and so he needs help with that, but he's good at math? What do they call that? Like, you can't say that. Asian kids are good at math. But yeah, it's one of those things, right? The girl from Cuba is bilingual. Well, awesome. We're going to capitalize on that. So they're all going to come in with their own strengths and weaknesses, just like I might not want to do bite work with a Chihuahua, but maybe with a German Shepherd would have a predisposition to that. So like I said, there's contradictions, but in the end, all dogs learn the same way, and that's all I wanted to drive home. So don't get too hung up on that. No matter where your dog is from or not from, no matter what your breed your dog is, or if it's a blend of breeds, the training system that we present to you will work because it simply works. And the other thing that I love about it is what we call full spectrum. I don't even like using balance anymore. Full spectrum, meaning just like the kids we showed you, if the kid struggles with reading, no problem. We're gonna do something visual for them to help them. If your dog sucks with food luring, no problem. We'll go to leash pressure. If your dog sucks with leash pressure on a prong, we'll go to a slip. If it doesn't like the slip, we're going to move to something else. Maybe your dog excels at free shaping. Maybe it sucks at free shaping. We've seen both. We've seen dogs that sit there, don't have the first clue what's going on, and other dogs are absolute champs at free shaping. Some dogs love the e-collar. Some have had bad e-collar training, so we have to put extra work in to make them, recondition them to love it, and so on and so forth it goes. But the point of the full spectrum is no matter where your dog sits on the spectrum of learning, their experiences, their age, whatever, we jump in where we need to. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, maybe some more over here, whatever it might be, to create something that works for your dog. And that's the answer, folks. So I hope you all enjoyed this very long lecture, if you will. Nothing you're going to find anywhere on the internet. And again, it's probably coming down in 24 hours. So all of this is for what? I don't know. For the folks like you who have stayed to the end. Can we say who any of those top contributors are? We can name them now.
I've got a couple here. So Troy was our top contributor.
Thank
he
you,
was
Troy.
Answering a lot of the questions always in there. Some of our other top contributors that we have that are going to get a free course. SM.
Is it just SM?
Yeah, SM, yeah, capital SM.
Okay.
Here, I should just give you this list.
I like when you read them out. The Koalafornian. I don't know what this is. Koalafornian.
I'm assuming it's a play on the Californian, but the
yeah, I don't know if it's Cole or Koala. That's fine. We got it there. Top contributor. And Lisa. Lisa was in it to win it or what?
Yeah, she was. She it says the question she answered right or something.
Perfect. All right. And then are there more here? All of these?
Yeah, they're below.
Leah Lopez. And Jenna Palmer. These are our winners. Please contact my team, and they are going to hook you up. Whatever course you want, and which of them deserves a premium membership? Let me look at the answers they gave.
Yeah, Alexander just mentioned email info@diycanine.com. It's dropped in the chat. Someone was saying that our customer service hasn't gotten back to them due to the holidays.
Yeah, we're getting flooded, baby. But trust me when I tell you, we'll get back to you. And we usually get back to you very quickly. But if there's any delay, that's because we're pushing through the holidays. We got the sale going on. A lot of people inquiring. Trust me when I tell you, they will get back to you. They work 7 days a week. So you will get a response. So, but it's just going to be a little hectic over this weekend and in through, we're ending Black Friday, Cyber Monday's happening. So Troy, you already know, we love you. SM, free course. What did this individual contribute?
So Troy's the only one with the premium membership.
Already got it. Just want to make this quick.
So SM, the Californian, and Lisa just were very top contributors, always in the chat. Leah Lopez was the one who asked why hand commands preferred over voice commands. The Shepherd Working Dog also was another one who got one of the courses. I don't think we put that up there. She answered, dogs are more visual learners.
The Shepherd something?
Yeah, right here. This the Shepherd Working Dog.
All right. Do a free course.
Yeah, she was also a top contributor as well.
Who's that?
The Shepherd, the Working Dog.
And then that's a premium membership. There you go. So there it is. If your name's up there, email our team. They'll take care of you. Taking a note of that. And if you're here, thanks for staying. I know it's got a little long. Want to end on a high note. Really appreciate it, y'all. Make sure to visit us at DIYcanine.com for all your dog training needs. Hope you all learned something. Take advantage. Share with your friends because this is going away in about 24 hours. All right. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you all.